All right. Hey. Welcome. Less process, more autonomy with a Team Playbook. We all want less processes and get more autonomy as software developers, right? Have anyone heard here of the Team Playbook from Atlassian? 1, 2, hands up. Okay, that's good. You learned something new today. That's fine. So just about me, I'm Sven. I have been working for Atlassian and I have been helping to bring the Team Playbook to life. I'm now working for K15T and helping to implement the Team Playbook or plays from the Team Playbook within this company, K15T. But the story I want to tell here is actually starts way earlier than this. Back in 1999, imagine me just younger, without gray hair, right? Just imagine that. I just graduated from university and began my new job and wanted to implement everything that I learned at the university in this new job. So at the university, we had a lecture called software engineering. And we learned, if you want to do a proper software project, you have to do it this way. The waterfall way, really. They teach us that in university. You write down your requirements in the beginning, then you talk maybe to the customer, but then you write your code. Half a year later, after you tested your code, you show it to the customer says, nah, that's not what I wanted. So you go back to the requirements and fix that and go down the waterfall again. That was the way software should be developed, what I learned, right? At that time. That was the only way that they told software should be developed. But we know all that this was a very frustrating time. Deadline were missed, right? Quality wasn't really good. Frustration on both ends, the customer and the developers. It was really like this. But then, fortunately, in 2004, I discovered something new, right? The Agile revolution. And I discovered something that helped me a lot with my teams at that time, and I saw Scrum. Scrum, wow. That was the answer to everything, right? It was just like, wow, eye-opening. I could really see all the tasks that we had. Everything got more transparent. We planned in short cycles, in, I think, 1 month cycles at the beginning. And that was just like, okay, 1 month working on something and then show it to the customer. The customer gives feedback after 1 month. Wow, amazing, right? So actually, this was actually the unicorn at that time for me. It was just like, cool. But then at the same time, there was also coming more stuff up because Scrum, didn't really fit to everyone. So people were coming up and say, yeah, that's not fast enough, Scrum. We do Kanban. Or we had to scale it, the enterprise unified process, or scale the scaled agile framework, SAFe. Is anyone doing SAFe here? 2, 3, are you happy with that? Okay, I don't ask this question. Anyway, not a big fan. So anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't add to the story. So there was these things coming up, and that's also fine. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So teams were different, projects are different. So that was just not the only thing. There was much more coming up, Spotification and stuff like that. So there was a lot of stuff to pick from, and there is a lot of stuff to pick from, but. Yeah, I mean, it's 18 years ago that they wrote the Agile Manifesto, right? 2001, I just looked it up. So, of course, there are different flavors of Agile. Some things are a little bit more Agile and some things are a little less Agile. So, what should you pick? What is the best for your team to pick? Which methodology you want to work with, right? That's the question. Well, the question is actually, let's go back. Let's go back, really. Let's go back to the heart of Agile. So what is Agile all about? Agile is all about constantly changing, right? Constantly changing, adapting. This is Agile. So what do you need for that? First, you need some team empowerment. You need to empower the team to drive those changes, these Agile changes. It doesn't work if you have a big hierarchy and then just ask your boss if we can do these changes. No, it has to be quick. It has to be fast. The team needs to be empowered to do those changes. This is one thing. The other thing is that you need to have the right team structure, right? it doesn't help also if you say, we need to change the design, and the designers, they have some free spots in 2 weeks. That doesn't also work, right? So you need some designers in your team to need to have this right team structure, not like this. In the past, we had this clear roles. There were the developers, the IT operation folks, right? And then also the testers. And we threw things over the wall and didn't feel responsible for that. These times are over. We have this cross-functional team, and now today you build it and you own it. So you run your services from end to end. You develop them, and you're also responsible for running those services, right? So and whatever you need in your team, you should have in your team. Your team should be balanced out, so you have all the roles in your team. Like if you need some more analyzation, you need an analyst in your team, right? Or if you're running operations or more security, right? If you want to look more security, you need a security guy on your team. So your team needs to be balanced in order to be agile, in order to have the right structure. Now, there are also different flavors of teams, of course. Teams are different, not just as we set them together, but also there are some teams that are pretty organized, right? So organized teams, very organized, structured. I'm German. I like organization, right? So 5 minutes before the end of the meeting, right? We're saying stop. We stop the meeting here. We're wrapping up and writing all the tasks down we have to do, right? And then we go back to our desk and do our work. But there are also some other teams, like very, very unstructured teams, very chaotic teams that just their meetings always run over. They have big discussions in the hallway afterwards. They get kicked out of meeting rooms and stuff like that. So very, very unstructured. There was actually a project from Google where they looked at high-performance teams, and they looked at teams, and they found out that it doesn't matter if you're an organized team or an unstructured team, you can be high-performance in both things, right? It's just like teams are actually different, and we have to know what works for this specific team. But then at the same time, not teams are always different. We have also different projects. So imagine you're writing software for Mars landing missions. Yeah, your tests should be very sophisticated. You can't shoot a rocket into Mars every week. So you have to be very careful with that. So very good testing. So your process is probably different how you develop those apps than if you want to write a dog tracking app. Really such a thing as a dog tracking app. I've been living in San Francisco, and a lot of people have dogs there, but they also work hard at the same time, so they give their dogs away to dog walkers at the daytime, and then they can see on an app where the dog walker walks the dog, and actually they can see where the dog takes a poo. That's all. It's all true. It's all true. That's the thing. But said that is, you can update this app all of the time, right? You can, okay, there's a bug. Doesn't matter, I update that. Try that with a Mars landing software in operation, right? Not working. So what I want to say is here, there are different paths to develop the Mars landing app than a dog tracking app. So wrap this up here. Different teams, right? Organized, not organized, unstructured teams, and different projects. And then we have companies that are running those different teams and different projects, and they say, you have to do the same process, right? That's the same development process. We're doing all the same development process. Do you think really this is a good thing? I don't think so. Because I've been running a lot of projects in my career, a ton of projects, and it's never going like the straight line where you have, okay, we reach milestone 1, we reach milestone 2 in time, and milestone 3, bow, there's your app or your software, right? It's not working like this. It's also not working like this. This is also a nice way of showing things, just running in circles and just like, oh, we were fixing things all the time, great. 2 weeks or 2 days in an iteration, we find out, okay, that was totally stupid what we thought we would plan, so we wait until the end of the sprint and fix it then. No, of course you fix it right away, right? So this is just a perfect view. Projects are unpredictable. If you run software projects, they're totally unpredictable. You run 1 week in that direction, find out this is not a good thing, so you go back where you started from and try things again. You learn from it, that's great, but this is totally unpredictable. And this is actually how we ran our software project, or Atlassian is still doing it like this. So they set up the team for success, to empower those teams, to make those decisions, and then at the same time, they put the team together with the right structure. Now, they said just like, oh, go, okay, teams, now go, do your stuff. And then they found out that teams were doing quite the same things inside. So even though they were set up to do whatever they want, they were looking at each other. So for example, one team had a problem where the leadership team came and said, "Oh, we don't know what's going on. Tell us what's going on. We're not in the loop here." So there was a misalignment between the developer team and the leadership team. So what they said is then, okay, we're doing a thing called a demo trust. So we're inviting the leadership team for every week. We're doing a demo. They can give feedback, and we can go on. Pretty easy thing, right? But it was so effective and so powerful that the team next door, the Jira team next door, did the same thing. They did also, okay, great, that works. We're doing also demo trust. And then all of a sudden, every team in Jira did that, and the Confluence team also copied that. So there was I don't want to call it a best practice, because it's a practice, actually, that worked for those teams pretty well. And we actually saw all these things popping up, and we had some managers or some people that were looking at team performance to help those teams. And they actually collected those small things that helped those teams overcome some hurdles and put them onto a Confluence page and said, oh, that's a great Confluence page, but we call it actually something different. We call it a Team Playbook. So all these small things, they said, this is a play, and you can take the playbook and fix things. If you see some things that doesn't work for your team, go look in the playbook and fix things, right? And that helped Atlassian so much. They actually worked on this plays to make them more mature, to make them also more broader, that they help for more teams, not just for one or two teams, but just for more teams, and said, okay, why don't we just open source this, right? And they did that. So they made this playbook publicly available on the Atlassian teamplaybook.com. You can look it up. It's for free. You can try it out. There's a lot of plays in there. Actually, I just looked it up. There's now 40 plays in the Team Playbook that you can just pick and try it out for your team. So there are some plays like, you probably know, retrospectives or stand-ups. You probably know that. But then there are some other cool things. And I actually have no time to show you all the 40 plays, and would be also totally boring for you, I guess, to run through all those plays. So I picked 5 plays. I took 5 plays with me, and I introduced those 5 plays to you to give you a sense what is a play and what is it about. Some plays are a little bit bigger, and some plays are a little bit smaller. And I start with one play here, and it's about a problem that I always had in teams when running teams as a team leader, or also as a team member, and it's about priorities. And I think every team has just problems with priorities to prioritize all the things. Because it goes normally like this. You go into your yearly planning and you say, oh, what's a priority? And then you ask people, and then you ask the designers, and the designer says, well, the user experience is pretty bad for our app. So we have to work on the user experience. Great, so user experience, put that on the list. And then you go to the management. And the management says, oh, we just had this board meeting, right? And Project X, this is really our focus for the whole fiscal year. So put Project X just high on your list. We have to do that, right? And afterwards, you go to the developers, and the developer says, well, user experience is great, but we have such an old legacy front-end technology. So first, before we work on the user experience, we want to really put out this front-end technology and put a new one in. So this must be higher on the list, right? And then you go to the salespeople, and the salespeople says, oh, wait. Before you set priorities, there is this custom feature that you have to develop, because actually we already sold this feature to our customers. So put that please high on the list. Okay, some people have been there also before. Yeah, me too. So we have to put this custom feature high on the list because we sold it already. And then you go, okay, that's my priority for the year. But we all know this is not the priorities for the year, because management comes and says, oh, Project X, forget that. Project Z and Y, much more important, right? Okay, we struggle with these things. So there's a play in the Team Playbook called OKRs. Who's running OKRs in their organization? 1, 2. Okay, wow. Okay, good. So OKRs are a goal-setting framework in the playbook. It's not invented by Atlassian, but we just took it and made it our own. So it actually comes original from Intel when they were developing the 8086. And they had a big problem with at that time because Motorola came up with a cool, really great microprocessor. And they said, okay, we're going to be out of market if we don't react. So we have to put all our forces on this new 8086 microprocessor. So they came up with OKRs, they set their goals in OKRs just to focus on this thing, right? And then after 16 months, they put it out on the market. The marketing was there, everything was there. And actually, Motorola couldn't react that fast. So Motorola actually went out of this market with this microprocessor type. So, but not only Intel was doing that, Google actually adopted it from, I think, day one almost. So we wouldn't have such a great tools like Gmail or Google Maps if they wouldn't have set their goals with OKRs and focus on these things and made these great apps. So OKRs is an acronym. It stands for, on one hand, O for objective and KR for key results. This is how you divide these two things. So what is an objective? Objective is really the bigger goals. So it's really setting the direction, where you want to go. The big thing that you want to go, right? And then you should formulate it more like an outcome for the customer if it's customer oriented. If it's not, you can't, but try to think about what is the outcome for the customer? What does the customer get at the end? What is the really value that we're delivering here? And then not too much, limit the scope. We're setting OKRs every quarter. And 2 to 3 objectives are way enough, right? So don't overcommit and have too many. That's not good. Just say, okay, this quarter we're concentrating on these 2 or 3 big efforts, right? Because we know stuff comes up all the time, so things we have to do, right? Some bugs that comes in and stuff like that. That's not an OKR fixing bugs. It's just the big things that we want to achieve. So objectives, pretty clear. And then we have, on the other hand, key results. Key results you define for each objective. You can define 2 to 3 key results, or 1 to 3 key results per objective. Also here, not too much, right? Key results are some measurable stuff that define the outcome. And please avoid the thing that key results are binary. Just like, oh, we released the software on the 1st of June. Boom. That's not good. That's a binary OKR. Just have something. Okay, if you really want to put that as a key result, put something in. 1st of June, we got 100% nailed this key result. 15th of June, we get just 50%, and so on, to just have a not binary key result here. And then it should be ambitious. Should drag you. It should be really hard to get to this key result, right? It should really drive you forward. So make it ambitious. So just to give you an example here. For example, an objective for the Jira team could be like the user can skim faster through the backlog. You know, when you have a big backlog in Jira, it can take a while to load it, to skim through it. And there can be different key results actually attached to this objective. One key result can be the loading time of the backlog defined for 10,000 items on a special machine. We have to reduce the loading time by 80%. Okay, let's do that. So 3 months after, we measure. Where are we in this objective OKR here, right? Well, what is this key result? And we measure, and the speed is just 64%. Okay, we failed. Damn, right? We just have a score of 0.8 here. 80%, 80% we reach the goal, 20% not. So there's a gap. But I said, the key result should be ambitious. It should drag us. It's not a problem. 80% would just like, boom, out of the window. Where 64% is like, oh, okay, right? So Google came up with a scale here. And it's, if the key result is between 1.0, which is mind blown, out of the ballpark, cool, great. And then between 1.0 and 0.7, great, we reached our goal. That's cool. If it's below, yeah, we have to look at it and learn from it, right? Now, the problem is always that you set those goals and those key results, put them on a page or somewhere, and then you forget about it, right? So Also, in this OKR process, we put in regular check-ins. So it's not like you define it once and look at 3 months later, where are we? That's not working, because you need to get reminded what's really important. So we're doing this monthly check-ins where we say, okay, we're doing a forecast after the first month. We are on track. We reach it. We hit it out of the park. That's great, 1.0. And then after 2 months, we say, oh, I don't think we're going to achieve that thing. So we forecasted it with 0.6. At the end, 0.8. Great. And then we write that down. We use Confluence for that. So you can see here we have all the check-ins here: the month 1 score, the month 2 score, end of quarter score, and then the total score up there. That has to be updated. Anyway, now I can tell you that go and do OKRs, right? You can do it now. I gave you all the tools, right? Maybe not. You saw maybe the result of OKRs, but you don't know how to really set it up, how to set up the meetings, the OKR meetings and stuff like that. It's a little bit like showing you this dish here and say, now taste it. Huh? Tastes good, right? Right? And now cook it. Nah, I can't cook it. I'm not a chef. Come on. I can't really do that dish. But there are smart people like for example, Jamie Oliver. Yeah, Jamie Oliver is a great cook. Written down all the recipes, right? So I can just take the book from Jamie Oliver and step by step cook this dish. Awesome. And this is also the same way we set up the Team Playbook. So we make it a step-by-step guide where you can actually see here, this is the overview. This is the OKR play, by the way. This is the overview where you can see how long does it take, how many people needs to be involved in that OKR. And then you have how you have the ingredients, what do you need to run those play, and then you have a step-by-step guide where you can just go through and do this play. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward how you can do that, right? All right. That was play number 1. Just to give you another play here, and that's a story I actually had with a team member. I once went to this team member and said, okay, well, our customer needs some dashboard where he or she can see some numbers that they can make some conclusion about it. So some analytic data. We were talking a little bit about the data, and then this person said, "Okay, I'll write a card, put it on the board, and I do it." Great. And then nothing happened really. I didn't see anything, and I asked this person always in the stand-up, "Hey, how's it going?" "Oh yeah, good. I'm almost done. Wait until you see it. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. It's going to be perfect." You probably had that feeling too, where you say, I don't want to be that person that asks, "Hey, show me what you did," right? And you can come to me, yeah, and show me, but I don't want to be that person that just pushes people into, "Oh, show me now what you did. I don't believe that it's going to be good." So I said, "Okay, great." At the end, I said, "Okay, come on, show me what you did." So what I had in mind is something like this here, right? A nice dashboard, just a few numbers, so they can draw some conclusion. So this person then said, "Okay, great. I'm going to show you. I'm 99% done. I will ship it. Here it is, Sven. My great dashboard. Good, cool." I said, that's not what I really thought. So maybe our goals were not really aligned, right? We didn't think about the same thing. I want just an overview. This is a very detailed thing, ugly looking, but besides that, very detailed, and I just wanted to give the customer an overview. So we were really talking about the goals. And at Atlassian, we had the same thing. There were 2 teams actually, unfortunately, in different locations, working together on a thing, but they used all the cool stuff, right? They were working together and they used all the cool stuff like OKRs. They used Jira, so they could see what the other team is doing, and then they had daily stand-ups, video stand-ups. They were working in the same time zone, so they could use chat and all these collaboration tools. Of course, yeah, right. We're Atlassian. We can do those shit, right? Cool, great. But then at the same time, the team got nothing done, right? Everything that was developed was just like, no, that's not good. So they had long discussions about features and stuff like that. Very frustrating on both ends. On both ends, both teams were very frustrated because they didn't deliver anything. So we brought those teams together and asked them, hey, let's come together and talk about really. What is it, right? What do we want to develop here? And it's amazing if you talk about really what are the goals, and instead of just talking about what the outcome should be, you talk about, okay, what are the drivers really that drives this project? And that's pretty amazing. And we found out that one group thought about this is all about performance. We all want to do better performance for this for Confluence. Our existing users should have a better experience, right? This is what we want to do. And the other team thought, okay, this feature is not about performance. This feature is about customer growth, right? We want to have more customer on our platform, so bring more customer in, so make it easier for those customers. So this team were pretty disaligned, right? And sometimes it's really easy just to say, okay, let's sit down for a while, not talk about what we want to build, but why we want to build it, right? So, and that's what you can do with a play called a project poster. It's of course not a poster, it's a Confluence page, but it is going about centered around the problem that we want to solve, right? The big, hairy problem that we really want to solve here. So write down why you want to solve it. Write down where's the validation data that validates that this is really a problem. Write down what are the solutions we are looking at to get everyone actually on the same page. As I said, it's not a poster, but it's also just very, very simple because we really nailed it down to a few questions that we're going to ask the team, and the team has to answer, and that aligns the team. So a project poster is something like, hey, write down why you're going to do this, how do we judge success, possible solutions here, and write down all these things, right? To just have a common understanding what this project is about, what are we working on together as a team to come together on that page, bring everyone on the same page. So this is a project poster, and you can actually see here you have the status that the team already worked on it. So this is done. What are we doing? We have talked about that, and this is actually a living document. So some things haven't been figured out. The possible solutions, for example, they're still working on that. They're trying out some stuff here. So that's not done. So also, if you do these things, I know that there are different kind of project posters or project documentations out there, but the problem is it's never going to be updated. The project changes and you forget to update the goals or the original documents. But this is really the heart of the project here. This is the one heart of the project that you work on, the project poster. There are some other data that you have, and what is that for, right? As I said, it's for aligning those teams. It's like bringing those teams together. So we align the team on one hand, and then, as I said, it's a living document. It's nothing that is just like static. We write it once, we forget about it. It's a living document. The team is discussing around it, and we keep it always up to date. And then also what it's good for is if new people come into this project and you have to explain what the project is about, you can just point to this project poster and say, hey, this is what we discussed. This is our goals. This is what we want to reach at the end. And this is why we want to do that. And having that written down once is pretty powerful. Also to point it to some other folks, to the management folks, and say, hey, here, look, this is what we want to do. Pretty powerful, pretty simple, and pretty powerful at the same time. Next play number 3, is about running decisions. And you probably don't know this person here. It's an Atlassian, and it's Jürgen Spangl, the head of design for Atlassian. Okay, but you probably have seen this person, right? Steve Jobs, great. So what do these two people have in common? Instead of that, they both have a clicker in their hands. They wear black shirts and a jeans, both on stage, right? They're both on stage wearing black shirts and a jeans. But Jürgen, for example, is not doing that just for going on stage. He's always wearing a black shirt and a jeans, and Steve was that kind of person too. So they just have the same outfit every day. Why the hell are they doing that? Why do they take on the same outfit every day? Same with Mark Zuckerberg, right? Gray shirt, dark gray hoodie, always, right? So why are these leaders actually picking the same clothes every day? The thing is, they don't want to make a decision what to wear in the morning. Why? Why don't they want to make a decision? It's just easy. I just go to the wardrobe, take a t-shirt, great. Why don't they want to do that decision? Because we have a limited number of good decisions per day, and they don't want to waste it by picking the close, right? So they want to limit their good decisions. So they want to have the good decisions for their work. Now, sad that is, you probably have been working in organizations where there's a manager that want to do all the decisions, right? That want to take all the decisions. So you have to go to the manager and ask the manager always. If you have such a manager still, go to the manager in the morning, because you know then there are some good decisions left. So do that, just an advice. So, good decisions. Talking about decisions, there are different kind of decisions. It helps me always to think about, is that a very, very hard decision, or is that a very, very decision that could ruin the company? And there's this thing called a decision tree, where you can have different decisions. So they talk about leave decisions, which are not real risk decisions, right? So that are the leave decisions. Then they talk about branch decisions. There are some risk, but it can be mitigated. And then there are the big trunk decisions, right? These decisions are really, really hard to take, and really, really big risk for the project, for the team, for the company. So leave decisions, that are probably the decisions that you decide. Do you want to build in caching in your code or not? You can decide that on your own. Maybe you write a Slack message to your team and say, hey, I decided this, or you write it down somewhere. Great. The branch decision you should take with the teams, right? It's a little bit like, okay, which technology should we use? So take the team together and then just like make the decision on a team level. And then you have the big trunk decisions, right? And it's always hard to, should I involve in these decisions? How do I actually ask the right people in the company to make those decisions together with me? Should I call in a meeting or something? So we saw this problem too, and we had a solution, and it's called a DACI. DACI is a decision-making framework, and that is play number 3 from the Team Playbook. That you can just pick and do. DACI is, of course, again an acronym, stands for A for approver. So DACI says there just have to be one approver. Normally a manager or something that just says, okay, all sounds good, we're going into that direction. Or someone that is highly involved in that, an architect or something, and says, okay, I see all these options here, we're going to that decisions, people have been discussing, we're going to that decision. So one approver. One driver, so one that is just in the driver's seat and says, okay, we want to have those decisions, so I bring all those folks together. So one approver, one driver, and then you have the contributors. So these are different people that can discuss, that can bring up options that you want to do. So you have different contributors, and then very important, we have the people that may have an opinion, but they don't depend on this decision, and we call them the informed. And they don't have a voice in there. They just see what decisions have been made. You don't have to ask them. You don't have to. They can't give their opinion. They just need to be informed, right? So these are this is the Desi framework. So as I said, really important: one approver and one driver, and then you have some contributors and some people that need to be informed. Just to give you an example, for example, we had this decision that we released, I think 1.5 years ago. This Atlassian released this Trello app. So they had an app for desktop app for Trello. It's still there. I'm still using it, but it's normally just basically a web view with some extra features on the desktop app that you can create a board pretty easy, or a card pretty easy with that app. So they said, okay, it's done. Actually, we have those, and all new features. It's in the web anyway available, so it's going into the web view, so we don't have to do anything here, right? So they wanted to drive this decision forward to say, what are we going to do with this app? Are we going to develop it further, or are we going to stop developing it? So they actually put up this Confluence page, and you can see there are this people get mentions that are the contributors. So you just mention those people. They get a notification in Confluence or in email, and then they can jump on the page and read through that and continue the conversation here. And then you have the people that needs to be informed. So this is what it looks like. You have the 3 different options out there, and then the team decides together one option, or the driver says, okay, I see pro, cons, I pick option 2 now. We think this is the best option. Go to the approver and say, hey, do you also think this is the best option? Please approve. And then the approver says, thumbs up, I approve it, and then the decision is taken. And everyone, it's up in the open, it's transparent, everyone can see all the decisions that has been taken in the company. So decisions with the Desi framework, they are aligned, transparent, pretty much important, that you actually can see what decisions has been taken and why. And then you can do that in a timely manner. You can press that forward asynchronously. You don't have to invite everyone in one room and wait until you find a spot in the calendar where everyone has time to talk about it, because you can drive that in a timely manner through a Confluence page. All right, so this is actually the Desi framework. Let's talk about play number 4. Play number 4 is pretty cool. It's not a retrospective, but what we do in a retrospective, right? At the end of a sprint, we're doing a retrospective. So in this retrospective, we're looking back to the past and say, okay, actually, what actually did we learn here? What did we learn from the last sprint? And then you go and say, okay, now we make conclusion here. How can we improve, right? How can we get better? But then at the same time, it's the end of the sprint or the end of a project, and then it's actually too late. We should have known that before. Then we would have been making the mistake in the first place, right? Sounds fancy, but we want to fix things before they actually happen. How do you do that? I grew up in the 80s, so I know the solution, right? You probably too. You buy a DeLorean, travel in the past, fix things, and don't meet your mother, please. And then you travel back into the future. Easy, right? So for projects, it would be just like taking shortcuts, making different decisions on one says, or actually skip some extra steps that you have been taken in your project and you know it's not going to lead to anything here, or build in something that you have forgotten. In the retrospective, you find out, oh, we have forgotten something to build in, so we fixed that beforehand. But let me tell you this: so you can read through the Team Playbook. There's no play actually that helps you travel into the past. But there's a play, actually, that helps you travel into the future. Right. And we call that a premortem. Premortem is a pretty interesting play. I go through it step by step so you can see how a premortem can be run. So you learn something that actually didn't happen now, but it will happen in the future. All right. Sounds fancy, right? So first, you prepare. You prepare the people and say, hey, what could happen, right? What could slow us down? Think about it before you invite people. Think about what can slow us down. It's amazing, actually, that people already know what's going to be wrong, but they don't speak it out loud in the project. So, what can make us nervous, right? What makes you nervous already about the project, and what would stop us for going further? And then you just say, okay, prepare. Bring all those people together and then set the stage. Say, okay, imagine it is September 2019. We launched this app that we're currently working on in 4 months. Now what, right? Now what? And then people are thinking a little bit, make them think a little bit, and then put this 2 groups, divide the audience into 2 groups, the team into 2 groups, and say, one is the glasses half full group, and one is the half is glass empty group, right? And then you have a success group and failure group. Write down the things for the success group, all the wins. Why this launch is absolutely amazing, right? Why is it so cool that we launched this app? Why are the customers so happy about it? And then the failure group. Why didn't we deliver on time? Which features suck? Why is it slow? Blah 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 blah. Write all these things down. Then you want to diversify that a little bit, so you want to have other opinions about this list. So you'd exchange the sheets, and then people are just saying, okay, here, this is what I would say it's a failure. And then you say, okay, now we pick the 3 things that will probably happen. So 1, 2, 3. So you vote for these things. What should we amplify? What should we do more of and make the customer even more happy? And what should we work on that this won't happen, right? And then you change the plan. You change the project plan and say, okay, we skip some other stuff here. We have to work on these things. So you change the plan. It's amazing. I've seen people going into this premortem and just say, okay, good. My project is so cool. We're gonna be. Everything is in good shape. And then they came out of the premortem and say, "Oh my God, we're doomed. Oh my God, oh it's really bad." So it's really amazing what comes out of such a premortem. So I can really recommend just running that. If you have the feeling something is cooking underneath, you definitely have to do that. But with all this plays in the team playbook, it's a little bit like design patterns. You cannot just take them and then your team is perfect. Take all 40 plays, just run through them in one project, and then the project is just perfect. So pick the right place from the team playbook that can help you in that moment. And I want to tell you a short story about a team at Atlassian, and it's the Confluence collaborative editing team. I don't know if you know that you can collaborative editing now in Confluence with different people on the same page, and you can see the updates like in Google Docs. This team, this cool new project was announced, I think, 2013 or something, at a big event from Atlassian. Say, wow, this is cool. It was a little bit early because nothing was written yet. It was just slideware. But then the team was working on this, right? So 2 years in, one product manager, one designer, one dev manager. 1 year later, actually, 3 years in, we burned a product manager because we didn't get anywhere, so new product manager, new dev manager, because the dev manager got frustrated. The team didn't get anywhere, right? And the customer would just say, oh, wait, where's this cool thing that we saw 3 years ago? And say, oh, we're still working on that. And then 4 years in, actually, it was also still frustrating because we burned 4 product managers and 3 designers, and really the team was super frustrated. It didn't get anywhere. Technology-wise, it was complicated, and the team really didn't know what the scope was. A lot of frustration in that team. So we said, okay, we're currently developing this team playbook. So we look at this plays and just like what can we do with your team? So there was a new team. It's not a team manager, but just someone who helps the teams to set them up for success. So this person came in and said, okay, what are the goals? And the team had different goals, and they were really happy about that they were doing this project poster because they said, okay, this is really great for us. It limits the scope. It's cool. Now we know really what to work on. And then they were running some DACIs, some decisions that they have pushed forward. But it was not just that the decision hasn't been made. It was just like they didn't have all the discussions around the decisions. And this was the aha moment that the team had. It's like, oh, wow, discussions. You have this opinion. I have this opinion. This is awesome. So the team really came better together and made it stronger. But the most thing was the premortem that they were running. They were running, I think, half a year before they launched a premortem. And what they found out is that they have totally forgotten to put analytics into their cloud product, right? They couldn't see if they would have launched, they wouldn't have seen how the customer are using it, so they wouldn't have improved the product. So this really what they found out in a pre-mortem, that analytics wasn't there. They were so much concentrating on making this collaborative editing happening that they totally forgot that. And they found it out in a pre-mortem that they would have launched without it, so they fixed all this stuff. Long story short, the team was happy. They launched it, I think, 9 months after this team manager helped them a little bit with setting their goals. They launched the first beta system of that. The team was happy, and they got something out of the door. Now, we were all writing software, right? Software is our bread and butter. We're doing it every day. So how do we make sure that our software is a good quality, that our software is right, even though we're doing changes along the way? How do we make sure? We're running software tests, right? Software tests, yeah, the software is in great shape. But what about our team? Is our team in great shape? Do we know that? Are we running tests on that? We should actually, right? We should actually see, Is there something in the team that doesn't work? So running team tests. I told you I have 5 plays with me, and this is the last play I'm going to show you, and it's called a team health monitor. So that's where you can really measure if your team health is all right. So it's a play where you can diagnose the team and see how good is the team right now, how healthy is the team right now. And it's simple. There are different health monitors out there for leadership teams, for service teams, and for project teams. And I want to show you the project team health monitor. And it's pretty simple. You just ask 8 questions, and the team is just voting on those. So question number 1. Does your project team has a full-time owner? Someone who cares about the project full-time 80% of the time. Is the team balanced? Do I have the right people inside my team? Is that balanced? Do we all have a shared understanding what's going on, what we want to solve? Are the goals clear here? Do we have values and metrics in place? Do we know how we are doing right now? Can we measure that somehow, where we are in the progress? Do we have a proof of concept? Does that work, what we think we set up, right? Do we have a proof of concept? Do we have a one-pager somewhere where we can point people to and say, hey, this is what we're working on. This is our goals. This is why we're doing that. Do we have figured out all dependencies? Do we need maybe the legal department at the end or some GDPR checks or some other stuff, right? Do we know all dependencies that we have? And how are we doing? What is the velocity? So these are the 8 checkpoints that we're gonna ask teams. They have changed over time, but this is now what we settled at Atlassian. So these are the 8 checkpoints for better team health. And then we're gonna vote on those and say, hey team, what do you think? Do we think we have a full-time owner? And then the team can say yes, green, thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. Or do you think the team is balanced? Do we have the right roles and the right people in those teams, right? And then the team say, oh, no. And then we come up to a conclusion together, say, okay, green, red, yellow. You can do this health monitor just on a whiteboard if you want to do. Some teams are doing it in Confluence to document it later so they can go back and see really how we are improving. Or the Trello team is, of course, doing it in Trello. They are a remote team, distributed. So they go on a video conference call and say, okay, full-time owner. Now we vote on the full-time owner. 1, 2, 3, add your cards to the board. And then they're adding the cards to the board, and they have voted full-time owner. Yes, sure, green, and fill out the board like this. Or you can use these cards here. I brought a few of those with me. It's a little bit like planning poker cards, so with green, red, and yellow cards. I can hand you out some of those after the talk if you want. And vote with those things, and then also look over time how you get better or how you improve or where you get not better. Right? So team health monitor, great for diagnose your team. At the other side you have your place, which is the medicine to solve things that are not working. We make some suggestions in the team playbook where you can see which indicator in the health monitor works well with which play that can solve these things. You can take that or you don't. Now, said that, these are just the Atlassian health plays, and this is the Atlassian plays in the team playbook. You probably are doing things already in your team, right? You're doing some stuff in your team, and other teams in your organization may also do some things. It's like just bringing those best practices or those practices together. So you build actually your own team playbook, and maybe you mix it with the Atlassian plays. So this is really important, just because this is just like Atlassian is a special kind of company. K15T, the company I work for now, is a different kind of company. So we have our own kind of playbook. So we adjusted the plays so they fit for us. And we added some plays for ourselves because not every play worked for us, right? So we have our own team playbook. And I can just say, if you want to use the Atlassian team playbook, don't just copy it and use it. Just adjust it and to do your own stuff. I said, different teams, different projects, same process, not working, right? No. But at the same time, processes are not bad. I'm going on a plane today, right? And I don't want the pilot to experiment and try out new plays or stuff when he's taking off. No, please not. You should fly me safe back to Hamburg. So there are also good reasons why we have processes that are repeatable and everything. So we have also this incident handbook, for example, that where you can actually have a process, how when an incident happened, then you just pull out this incident handbook, right? And then just follow this. It's a very stressful situation if an incident happens, so you just pull out the incident handbook so you know how to reply to your customers. So doing things right, processes are pretty good for doing things the right way, right? Every time the right way. But doing the right things, you want to be adaptable. You want to change things, and that's where Team Playbook comes in and can help you, or Plays come in and can help you, because you can adapt them and change them, change the way you work over time. Teams are different, projects are different, and problems are different. There's no process. Don't wait until someone comes up with a process or a solution for you. You have to do that. You, as a developer, have to do that. So first, identify the problem. And I think this is the most hardest thing to do, just to see or admit that, oh my God, we have a problem here. We have to identify the problem. Then find the solutions. Find a play. Look in the playbook. Look outside what other teams are doing, and try to find a solution. And then solve the fucking thing, right? Or as the Atlassian co-founder once said, "Hey guys, now don't talk too much. Now go and get shit done." That's it. Thank you very much.